tackle will fumble. I've been a leader when they ain't see it, but now my feet is up. According to me, royalty didn't end with King Tut. Crown on my head, clouds is at my legs. Big says sky is the limit. I look down on the ledge. I push the bar like I'm opening a cell. Hands in my cookie jar, you won't come out with a single nail. I need all of mine. The weight of my shoulders won't fit on a scale. What's a king to a giant? Well, Goliath fell. Even if we playing chess, dog, this king can't be checked. I make all my moves on the board. I invented my steps. I'm a king, the blood of a ruler. I feel like Mansa Musa. Make your squad disappear like landing by the Bermuda. Triangle, look at it from my angle. I'm a king, the closest thing to being one of God's angels. Yeah, I'm a king. Heavy is the head that wears the crown. I put an extra work that just can't be found. I took the sword out the stone, wasn't a thing.
Let's go.
Look me in my eyes, cause I'm a king. Look me in my eyes, cause I'm a king.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night. This is the Code of Conduct with the King podcast. I am your host, Jay Spencer King, and you are listening to the Code of Conduct on the Buffalo Rumblings Vidcast Network, presented by Picasso Pizza. Treat yourself to the most flavorful pizza on game day, Picasso's. We are Buffalo Pizza, shipping local and nationwide. Order online at picassopizza.net. What is up, ladies and gentlemen? Bills Mafia in the building. This is a special guest for me. Normally, I try to dip outside of the fan base and get certain individuals that I respect from other fan bases. And this week is no exception. I respect this dude and I love this dude on a whole different level. My brother, one of my best friends in the world, is joining me tonight. My man, Jesse. I'm not going to put your whole government out there, but my man, Jesse, is in the building. What's going on, man?
What's happening?
Man, it's a big week for y'all. It's a big week for us, but I feel like it's a big week for y'all. So let's go ahead.
It's a huge week for us because we got to go out and show something, go out and prove something to ourselves and our fan base this week.
Well, so before we talk about this week, let me let everybody know, just a little background. So Jesse and I, we used to work. He was my manager, actually. So I moved to Indiana and I was out in Indianapolis for about 4.5, 5 years. And Jesse and I, we linked actually through my cousin, who everybody, if you've been listening to the Code of Conduct for a couple of years, you actually met my cousin CJ. Bills fans didn't like him when we talked about Baltimore, but that's okay. That's my dog. That's my cousin. Jesse and I linked through him, but then we actually worked together for some time, and it's just been a great time. My man Daniel says, "Welcome, Jesse, and go Bills" at the same time. So we are. Let's get into it though, man. First, how you doing, man? How's everything out there in Indianapolis? And you moving to Phoenix yet, or what?
I'm doing great. That move to Phoenix was halted a little bit when JJ Watt put the snake post out about the snake being in his bathroom. Made my wife take a second look at maybe moving out that way. She said she don't want to have no snakes running around her house.
She don't want no parts of it. But I'm gonna just tell you, man,
not having no snakes in the house.
I've been here like 2.5 years now. I have not seen one. Like, honestly, man, like. But okay, I ain't gonna, I'll save the recruitment for when we're off of this. Let's talk a little bit about, so this past weekend, y'all took an L, like, of epic proportions, man. Like, y'all went up against the Washington Commanders. I do the article now, like the game day picks. And when I wrote about this game, I was like, yo, there's no way Aaron Rodgers could lose to Heineke. Or, like, I just can't see, I just can't see Aaron Rodgers taking that L. And they need momentum coming into Orchard Park, but they did it. Let's talk about what you saw from this last game, and then, we'll get into that. Then we'll get into next week.
There is so much that I saw in this game that even need to be discussed here. First, it's crazy to think that it would have been easier if Carson Wentz would have played, and he's the starter. We had an issue with maintaining our rush lanes and allowing the quarterback to move around and be able to make some throws under pressure. And that's pretty much what cost us the game, is our inability to close out those pressures and allowing him to get the ball off. And he made some good plays in the second half, on top of the fact that our defense did not take advantage of some opportunities they had in the first half, and getting penalties. Bad timing on getting penalties. We had a fumble recovery that would have been a return touchdown in the first half. Uh, it was a really ticky tack illegal contact, but it is what it is. The penalty got called, and we lost the touchdown. But there was maybe three other opportunities for interceptions in that first half alone that we did not capitalize on, and that's what cost us the game: inability to capitalize on their mistakes, and then not being able to close them out on our end. I mean, our offense only ran 47 plays in that game.
You know what's amazing to me in a bad way? Because so through the years, I've always been one to pay super respect to Aaron Rodgers. I love the Packers. Like it was one of those things where it was like, okay, well, my Bills ain't good. Y'all used to get me, but I used to say positive things about the Packers, and now it seems like the way the ball will bounce. It used to just bounce y'all way, or Aaron Rodgers would make a play, he'll make a pass, and it's like, man, I used to envy that. Like when we had EJ Manuel, I used to be like, man, why can't I just get a quarterback that could put the ball where it needs to be, like Aaron Rodgers? But now it just seems like, well, now we do. We'll talk about that. But now it seems like, I like, for instance, there was a play in the first half where Aaron, he ran out to his right, and I forget the receiver, but he tossed it out there, and the guy had to dive a little bit for it. But under normal circumstances, you feel like that's a throw that Aaron Rodgers makes like 9 times out of 10. And it just feels like this season is not happening that way. What do you think is the disconnect? Like, is it really as simple as, well, Devontae Adams ain't there? Or is it that, what's the disconnect?
Right now, they are not making a big deal out of it, but Aaron Rodgers has a right thumb injury. And Aaron Rodgers is not able to throw the deep ball, and he's not able to throw simple dump-off passes accurately. He's thrown several dump-off passes in the ground, way too high to where the receivers have had to jump for him and thrown them off of their routes. He's missed so many receivers. In that game alone, I don't know how much of the game that you actually watched, but he threw probably 3 deep passes that were 10 to 15 yards overthrown from the receivers. Just no way. And the receivers are getting open. They may not be getting open like Devontae would. And but when you had opportunities, you have to take advantage of those. The receivers are getting open, but then there's other plays where the receivers are dropping the ball. 5 drop balls last week, and depending on what you listen to, between 5 and 7 against the Commanders. So you gotta be better with your execution. That's where our issues stand at.
And I feel, again, back to that point of like certain things just not going your way. Like even the Jets game, I feel like, the block punt or the block kick, the field goal, you had just like a bunch of these little miscues that you normally see for bad teams. And then, so when I say this is an honest question to you. Like, this is the first year I've seen it like this for Green Bay. And it's like, that's normally what happens to bad. Like, do you see yourself looking at this team like, you know what, this year we just not good? Or do you see it being one of those things where obviously you got Aaron Rodgers, but can it be one of those things where it's like, you know what, no, we still got time to fix this. We can turn this around.
Well, I see both of those in that, because we do look terrible right now, but we do have time to turn it around. Like in that Jets game, we actually had a field goal block and a punt block. The punt block went back for a touchdown. So, I mean, we essentially, on special teams alone, we lost a total of 13 points in that Jets loss. So, but then if you look back, our offense couldn't do anything. Our offense didn't score. In that Jets game, our offensive line was terrible. And that's why you saw in the Washington game that we had some wholesale changes on the offensive line. They changed up 4 positions on our offensive line in that Washington game. Mm-hmm. And they started to leave the tight ends in more. They did more protecting, and it worked. Aaron Rodgers didn't get sacked one time in that game, and he was only pressured once, and he still couldn't complete passes. So that's something to think about.
First it's still, and we've texted and I've talked to you, and I said, look, man, for me, outside of everything, I'm still just shocked that, not even shocked. I feel like they regret the divorce from Devontae Adams. Like, I get that it got to the point where he was like, no, I'm ready to go. But it's like, and I agree with you, like, he's not hitting passes that he would normally hit. But at the same time, it's like, you can see even for Devontae Adams, like, yeah, I know he went to college with Carr, and I know, they got a good running game, and Darren Waller's out there, but you could tell he misses Aaron Rodgers too, man. Like it is one thing from going from 70% of the offense to now you're one of the guys. Like it's a huge difference. What's the biggest thing that I don't know, because you just said that you feel like it's not necessarily the receivers, they're getting open, but man, he misses them, bro. Like he really misses them.
He's missing, and I really think it's his thumb. You'll see him a lot during the games. In that Buffalo game, I guarantee you they're going to catch him on the sideline, walking off the field and holding that thumb. They can't even take snaps on the center right now because it hurt. So this last game, they had 39 out of 47 snaps were in shotgun, and two of those snaps that they didn't take in shotgun, one was a spike to stop the clock. The other one was a run at the goal line right before halftime just to make space. So they just can't take snaps on the center because he can't take the pain. So his thumb is an issue.
Tracy in the comments is talking to Pamela, but she says she has some delicious cheese. Is this a shot at the cheeseheads, or y'all got an inside joke? I need to know because I want to laugh too. I'm hoping it's a shot at the Packers real quick. Because as a matter of fact, we're gonna keep going on the topics, but I just want y'all to know, Jesse, he done said some stuff to me over the years, and I always paid respect to the Packers. It was one year when we was at work, and I was excited because the Packers was actually playing Buffalo. And I'm like, yo, the schedule come. He was like, I don't worry about that till after the playoffs, pimp. And I'm like, oh, that's how you feel. We make the playoffs in Green Bay. Oh, that's how you feel. They used to come at me. So whatever jokes y'all got for these Packers, y'all go ahead and go off in the comments. Please go off in the comments.
They can hit me with it. I'm all good. I've had my years to brag and boast. So we get a down year. Hey, give it to me. I'll take it because I'll be able to come back soon.
And you know what? Talking about down years and talking about bragging and boasting, can we talk about your cousin's team for a second? Can we talk about the New England Patriots that just took that L last night to the Chicago Bears in the worst way? Like, I just want to talk about that real quick because I just thought that was funny. Like, I think all Bills fans find that to be extremely funny and entertaining.
I'm sure they do.
What you see about the Patriots this year?
All the Bills fans got to be loving what they seeing with the Patriots now because of all those years with Tom Brady out there just getting on your nerves. Now Tom Brady gone, and they look vulnerable. They look like they are average NFL team now, and they went out there, and Chicago's defense just put it to them. And I think they might have hurt their team a little. You won't find out till later, but I believe pulling Mac Jones the way that they did for Zappy, and then Zappy turned around and he made a couple plays when he first came in, but he didn't play well.
He made a couple plays on broken coverage. You know what I mean? Like it wasn't as if like, he wasn't out there and he wasn't surgical. But to your point, I agree with you. I think that they actually did hurt the team. Remember last year, they was talking about how Miami, or the year before, they was talking about how Miami mishandled Tua by pulling him and then playing him and then pulling him. And everybody they call a GOAT coach. They talk about Bill Belichick like he's the GOAT. He's doing the same thing now. So I just don't understand how like the narrative isn't the same. I thought this morning, I thought every network, every publication, it was going to be, oh man, Bill Belichick is mishandling, Mac Jones. Instead, it's like, hey, it's Zappy time. And it's like, what is happening? Like let's pile on Bill. I want to pile on Bill, but let's get back to your team, man. I just had to, because just in case your cousins are listening, I just had to make sure I let them know it's a new top dog in the AFC East, and y'all can watch. You know what? I tell you what, y'all can come on and like Josh Allen too. Go ahead and tell them y'all can come like Josh Allen. We'll accept you. At least I will. I don't know.
I got one of those wishy-washy ones. One of my cousins will be over there with you.
Shout out to my man John Fena's in the building. John Fena is one of the just the dopest guys. Fena played in the Super Bowl with the Bills, man. John Fena's my guy. So back to it. Your defense, though, I feel like is exceeding expectations. Like, typically, like I said, normally every year it's like Aaron Rodgers and then the defense makes some plays, but it's the offense's team. This year it seems like the way the offense is going, I know your record isn't what you want it to be, and it's not as, but at the same time, your defense is the reason why y'all really won the games that you've won. Talk to me a little bit about your defense.
actually is what the team was supposed to be. This is what we expected of the team at the beginning of the year because we lost Devontae Adams. We knew that the young receivers was going to take some time to grow. We didn't expect Romeo Dobbs to come out and play as good as he's been playing, but
Mhm.
his hands, for some reason, has turned on him. But the defense came out playing well. If you ask a lot of Packers fans, they will not tell you our defense is playing good. They will tell you our defense is a big problem, but our defense is constantly on the field. They are always on the field because our offense cannot sustain drives. So they come out, they play well early, and then later in the game, the floodgates open.
I just
They're
don't
getting
understand.
worse
But see, I don't understand that. How can people in your fan base say, well, no, they're not playing well? But I don't know. To me, that just doesn't make sense. Like the defense has clearly been the best part of your team this year.
because if you watch certain games, you'll see like the game against the Giants. When that in that during that second half, the Giants drove down and scored. I want to say it was either 4 or 5 consecutive drives,
Hmm.
and our defense couldn't get a stop. Our offense came out after halftime. They went down. They scored. Well, they after half, the Giants got the ball first. The Giants went 3 and out. Defense stopped them. We got the ball. We drove down and scored. We needed a stop from the defense, and we couldn't get it. The Giants went right down and scored.
Hmm.
And from there, I mean, the next drive we did the same thing, and the Giants just kept coming back and scoring. We couldn't stop their offense from scoring so that we can actually catch it. And
Shout out
that's what the
to
fans look at.
Well, I'm sorry. Shout out to my man Brian Dayball over there, Buffalo Zone, coming through, like literally Buffalo Zone. He's from Western New York, but he's doing his thing out there, smacking on the Packers like we needed him to do. Thank you, Brian. Shout out to the Giants. I hope they keep it up. How you feel about I mean, I know they beat y'all, so you wasn't happy about it, but how do you?
Nah.
I don't know if it's sustainable. Like I don't think that they're actually winning games because they're good. I just think the team is energized, and again, the ball is bouncing their way for certain times that normally you wouldn't see it bouncing their way.
They are pretty similar to what we were our first year under LaFleur. You play good football during the game and stay close, and then you play hard and finish the game. And they've been finishing the games instead of if they've been finishing the games with the ball and scoring and winning, and that's what we were doing. That's how we. The first year under Lafleur, we had a mishmash of offenses. They took the Lafleur offense, mixed it in with the McCarthy offense, and they just made something up. And we didn't play great offensively, but they made it work, and we stayed in games. Of course, Aaron Rodgers will be able to pull it out in the end for us. They don't have an Aaron Rodgers at quarterback, but they're doing pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's one of those things where it's a gift and a curse for them because if they keep winning, they won't have a decent draft spot to try and get a quarterback, and then I think pretty confidently everybody knows that Daniel Jones isn't the guy. Like he's better than Baker Mayfield's bum. He's better than Baker, but he's not. But he ain't really. He's not an Aaron Rodgers in his good years. He's not Josh this year or Patrick Mahomes, of course. So everybody's looking
No,
for that guy. So I just think it's a gift and a curse that they're starting the season off so hot because I also think their schedule is still kind of weak. So like they could win a potentially another 5-6 games just based on who they're going
the
against. So
schedule. Yeah.
yeah, and that's rough. That's rough when you're talking about trying to draft another quarterback. And I don't know if there's any. I gotta look. I didn't research that, but I don't know if there's any big free agents coming up at the quarterback position. I just think it might come back to bite them in the butt next season.
Yeah, I mean Daniel Jones is. I've never thought he was a terrible quarterback. I just thought they tried to make him out to be a better quarterback than he was. They made him play the wrong type of offense, putting him out there to try and make him sling the ball around. Last year, talking about fantasy. Now I had I had Saquon in fantasy, and it amazed me how they would not run the ball. They just did not run the ball out there. And you got Saquon Barkley in your backfield. They didn't make him the the focus of their offense. They doing that this year, and that's the biggest difference in them.
Well, that's what Brian Daboll's good at. Like, because even in the early years when Josh wasn't the Josh that we see now, he took his strengths and he made that the offense. He took, really look at it every year. Every year. Now there were things that Bills fans complained about because obviously we want to be perfect. We want to play it like Madden and we want to blow teams out 56-3 every game. But realistically, I felt like he did a good job, except I wanted more of a screen game. But, that's what Brian Daboll does. He's going out there. Saquon is getting the ball. He's putting the receivers in positions to make some type of separation where Daniel Jones can make throws that's easy for him. And they're taking what the defense gives them. If you do that all game, like you mentioned, you're going to be in the game. And then come the end of the game, if you got the ball last or you got the ball, with enough time to shut it down to where they can't really get down the field, like that's what they did to the Ravens. Same thing the Bills did, but that's what they did to the Ravens. The Ravens just didn't have enough time to go down and really to strike back. Real quick before because now I want to get into next week, or I actually want to talk about your division real quick. But before we do, I do want to shout my guy John Fina out again tonight, right after the Code of Conduct. It's a very special episode of the Off Tackle Show with John Fina, my man Joe Miller. They're gonna have Joel Allen. So if y'all don't know who that is, it's Josh Allen's father. He's going to be a very special guest tonight. We're going to talk. I don't know what they're going to talk about. I was about to make something up, but it's going to be good. So make sure y'all stick around on the YouTube network and check that out. If you don't get a chance to catch that, then tomorrow catch it in podcast form or go back and watch the vidcast again. And then one more person I got to shout out, my man Buffalo Freddy. I need y'all to understand that it's the best freaking barbecue in Western New York. And if you need a party, he has everything you need, from bounce houses to tables to slide. You don't want the slides right now. It's cold. It is cold in Buffalo. Cold, but he got everything you need for a party. Make sure you hit him up at 7164-FREDDY. That's 7164-FREDDY. Hit my guy up. So Jesse, let's talk a little bit about the division, man. I feel like right now, it's disappointing for Packers fans, but the Vikings, Justin Jefferson, that dude is for real. Like, and I think if there was ever in the history of the NFL a trade that was more even, it was when the Buffalo Bills got Stephon Diggs and they traded that draft pick for them to be able to get Justin Jefferson, because both those dudes have filled in nicely and they just eaten. Yeah. How do you feel about the Vikings right now?
I hate them, but but they are at this point. I don't think we can catch them. We've fallen so far behind. We lost to them week 1. We're 2 losses behind them in the win-loss column, and it's not looking good for what we got coming up here. We got Buffalo coming up, and then we got Philly coming up. So if we don't get ourselves together, I mean, the division's going to be gone pretty quick.
I can see y'all beating Philly, though. I don't think Philly is as good as advertised. No, I'm being honest with you. I saw Philly out here in Arizona. I know why you laugh.
I like how you just skipped over Buffalo. It was like, I see y'all beating Philly. Like, I ain't beat nothing.
Well, no, I'm gonna just tell you, honest to God, going back to the preseason, man, I've been having difficulty. Like, it's one of those things where, like, you want to be honest about your expectations and you want to be honest about your team. Every game, I look at the other team and I look at us and I look at how I feel like there's certain areas that we've underperformed still. And it's like, we've won 5 games now. We blew 3 teams out. We've beat the division leader for like last year's Super Bowl champion, we blew out in their house. Last year's number 1 seed in the AFC, we blew them out. It's difficult for me to accept anything less right now. I just feel like we should come out and dominate. And the way the Packers are playing, not taking a shot. You know how much respect I have for Aaron Rodgers and how much respect I have for that franchise. I've said it for years. I just don't see it. And I'm not trying to be cocky. It's just, I just think we're going to dog walk y'all Sunday night. And Josh shows up Sunday nights or prime time in general. He shows up. So I just don't see it. So Philly, yeah, I think y'all can beat Philly. I don't think they're as good as advertised. I think, they're undefeated, so I can't disrespect their record. But when you look at the games that the teams that they've played, and then again their schedule following, the Packers, I just don't think that they have the schedule that's going to scare anybody. So yeah, they should win the NFC. They should make it to the playoffs. But once it gets down to the top 8 teams of the league or whatever, I just don't see them really being able to compete with the best of the best.
Yeah, and they won't. They're not going to have to worry about anything. I mean, they're gonna pull that division out pretty quick. I take that back. The Giants is up there. I think the Giants are gonna have a better chance than Dallas will. at staying closer. I think they're going to be ahead of Dallas come the end of all this. Dallas is going to be in turmoil, wondering about which quarterback they should have been starting. Even though I don't think that they should have kept um, the backup guy, and I can't think his name right now, but I don't think they should have kept him in. Dak deserved to come back and start. He's the better quarterback. But their fans are going to be the same way that the Patriots fans were with Zappy. And I mean, that game they just played, they came pretty close down the wire. They weren't playing well. And I could see just them Dallas fans are going to want to bring back that quarterback that's been doing all of the winning, and he's not the better quarterback. So I don't see them sustaining what they're doing.
Yeah, I think Dak is the better of the two, and I tell you what, it'll be foolish of them. They'll mess around and end up trading them, and you let them go somewhere like Indianapolis, like let them go to the Colts, and I promise you, y'all gonna look at Dak differently. Dak at one,
I don't need to see him with the Colts.
Right, you don't want because you understand like Dak ain't the problem there, and I mean people forget we got a short-sighted memory, man. If you look back at Dak, they had a number one offense a couple years ago. You know what I mean? And he had some pretty serious injuries, but he ain't the problem. He ain't the problem. I know we kind of just touched on this, but Pam in the comments wanted to know, and I'll ask you this: are the Eagles for real? I know we kind of just said you just said you think the Cowboys have a better shot, but what was your? I gave my whole thing. Oh, the Giants have a better shot.
I believe that the Eagles are for real. The reason that they are playing so well is because of their offensive line. Unless they have injuries on that line, they're going to play well the rest of the season. Somebody's going to have to figure out how to get pressure on Hurts, and if they don't, I don't think that they're going to have an issue with their division. That's what I was saying. That I think that they're going to handle that division pretty well. I don't think any of them in a division can beat them.
Yeah, I'm with you. It's just scheduling, and it's injuries, and like you look at certain teams. It's like if Boys was healthy, this would be a different season. Like, and I mean, and that's another conversation. Like going back to what I said about the Bills, you got to understand, man. We ain't had Trey White all year. Micah Hyde went out week 2.
I love Micah.
Yeah, Micah's your boy, and
and
I love Micah. So I'm sad that he's out for the year. Hopefully, he had a successful surgery, so hopefully he'll be back next year, 23 and 23. Let's get him back. But I just don't. Again, like the injuries we've had, man. And we're performing the way we're performing with those injuries. And now, like, we're healthy. We finally was somewhat close to healthy going up against the Chiefs. I think, don't quote me on this, Bills fans. This is not an insider moment. I think we'll have Trey White back this week. If not this week, absolutely the following week. We're going to have Trey White back. Jordan Poyer is leading the league in interceptions. My dog, pay Poyer. Can y'all pay Poyer, please? Tremaine Edmonds is beasting. It's just without those injuries, man. Like it's just, I just feel like we would really be dominating. And that Miami game, we should have won that. It was. I'm not giving any excuses. I was at the game though, and when I tell you I was dehydrated sitting there, I don't know how them boys was playing and hitting each other, in that heat and with that humidity. I just don't know. I don't know. But let's keep it moving then. So this week, the Green Bay Packers come to my home, and they come into Orchard Park, and they're gonna go up against the Bills on the Sunday Night Football, which is fun for me because it's a big game. I've been looking forward to this since the schedule came out. I want to play a clip, and I want your thoughts on this clip.
Goddamn right it does. I'm not worried about this squad. In fact, this might be the best thing for us this week. Nobody's gonna give us a chance. Go on to Buffalo and Sunday Night Football. The chance to get exposed. Shoot. Might be the best thing for us.
You think there's a widespread belief?
You think this is the best thing for the Packers?
Do you mean the Bills? What he's saying simply is just that maybe they need to go in somewhere as an underdog and have that uphill fight to not have everybody telling us that we're the better team and we should be winning. And I hope they're not sitting in the clubhouse or in there reading their own press clippings and thinking that they're better than they are. But according to what he's saying, That's what he's thinking, that, maybe we need to go in somewhere as underdogs and have everybody think that we're not good enough. So the guys will put on a better focus and go. You know how mad I would be if they go out and they beat y'all? I would be so disgusted with my team. You lose to the Giants, to the Jets, to Washington, and then you go into Buffalo and win. What is wrong with y'all? We have a real problem in the locker room.
Yeah. Because then that means y'all just not focused. Y'all not waking up for games like y'all supposed to. If that's
Right.
what happens, yeah.
That means they're not coming in the games prepared to play.
Yeah, and one thing that I'm seeing, and I think Bills fans are recognizing it now after the year that we've had last year, and even the year before, because the year before was when that was Josh Allen's like MVP runner-up year. Now we're recognizing every week teams are waking up, like they're giving us their best. Like it's like, okay, this is a playoff game, this is a playoff matchup, and that's how teams play us. So, I mean, I could see the point. Like maybe they come in there and it's like, okay, we super focused. We got to really. We got to be focused on our assignments. We got to be focused on A, B, C, and D. And maybe they do come in and do it. I just can't see it, man. But this quote, what Aaron Rodgers is saying, I tell you how it comes across to some of the players in Buffalo. It comes across like, okay, I understand you saying that maybe this is what y'all need to kind of come in and focus. But be realistic about who we are. Like we them boys now. And I feel like they now are at the point where it's like, no, we have one goal and we're going to dominate every week until we get to our goal and we want to win that Super Bowl. So it's like now it's no longer the Bills saying like they're not respecting us in the sense of people not knowing about us. Now it's like, no, y'all know about us and y'all still going to talk like this. I think so. It's like, and I know it wasn't directly at the Bills. He was speaking in general about the team. But the way the media spun it and the way it's heard is like, no, come on, man. Be honest about who the hell we are, man. Like, we them boys.
Yeah. Well, it wasn't a shot at Buffalo at all. He wasn't coming for Buffalo. He's talking about his team coming together and doing something. Like last year, we went into Arizona, only undefeated team left. We didn't have Devontae Adams. We didn't have Allen. Our receiving core was down to, we had to bring in a couple of guys off practice squad for that game. And we went into Arizona and we won that game. And because we were being looked at as underdogs in that game, and they went in there and they won that game. And that's what he's saying. The focus that it took in that game for them to come out and win that game is what they're going to need when they go into Buffalo. That's what he's saying may be the best thing for us. It could be a light, shining a light on what we need to do every game.
I'm going to tell you what, Kyler Murray ain't no damn Josh Allen, okay? I just need you to understand what y'all about to go up against this week. And this is now this is me bragging a little bit. What y'all about to go up against this week, though, I said before the season that this is the most talented roster, top to bottom, that I've ever seen the Buffalo Bills have on paper. And what they've done is they've come out and they're proving that to be right. That's insane. This ain't the game that y'all want to tune up. Like y'all should have been tuning up against Washington, the Giants, the Jets. Like this is the game that y'all needed momentum. You know what I mean? Like y'all needed to come in there feeling like, yo, we can win this.
Feeling ourselves, yeah.
Yeah. I don't see it.
Honestly, I don't either. I don't see it either. I've watched the last 3 games and how we played. I felt so good when we beat Tampa Bay. And now looking back, Tampa Bay sucked too.
They do. What the heck is happening there?
Have no idea. So, we look at how the teams that we have beat this year, they were easily beatable teams. And then we have the last 3 games. We haven't lost 3 games in a row since 1994. That's ridiculous.
Speaking of that, this is the largest spread that Aaron Rodgers has had in his career. Prior to this game, I think the largest was 8.5. I think it was updated today to 10.5. It was 10 when I like to open the eyes, and I was 10.5. It's the absolute largest of Aaron Rodgers' career. And Vegas just thinks like they about to come into Buffalo and get beat down. And I don't know, man. And because I love Aaron Rodgers. I love Aaron Rodgers, but he's just becoming so unlikable in a way, like lately. Before we went live, I played you a clip from the Pat McAfee show. I would play it here, but I don't think that I can. I don't know if I would get flagged or not for playing another podcast info. But he basically was just, I don't know. It just still feels like he's coming across as super arrogant. He's not taking responsibility. He's not being accountable for the team. Like, he's not being the leader that you would expect your two-time defending MVP and former Super Bowl champion to be. And I don't know. It's just rubbing me wrong. And again, how much I've loved Aaron Rodgers. Like, I mean, dog, I used to worship that dude. And it's like, this is who you are as a leader when you don't have the weapons that you want or the weapons that you feel like you need or whatever. And it's just, I don't know, like, really, honest to God, this is the first time I can say, outside of it just being I want the Bills to win, this is the first time I can say I hope they dog walk this dude, just because I feel like he needs to take accountability. And I just really hope Von Miller puts a smack on that dude. I hope, you know what I mean? Like, I really hope we beat that dude down.
Well, a lot of Packers fans, unfortunately, agree with you. But Aaron Rodgers isn't different. He's been this person. The thing that you're seeing is that throughout Aaron Rodgers' career, he has never liked playing with rookies on the field. He's wanted, even when Devontae Adams was a rookie, you could see that he didn't play much. The players on the field for him have to be, the offense has to run a certain way. You have to know where you're supposed to be and be there, or Aaron Rodgers will not even look at you on the field. And with young guys, when they're making a bunch of errors, dropping passes, he wants to look to his veteran receivers to help him. That's the guys that he will go to pull them out. So if the Packers can look to maybe make a trade this year and get some veteran receivers into the team, it would make Rodgers so much more happier, because those are the people that he wants to throw to. He don't believe in the young guys, and knowing that he has to throw to them, and he do during the game, and then actually wanting to do it is two different things.
Man, you got Bills Mafia apologizing to you in the comments, man. Shout out to Pam. She said, sorry, Jesse.
It's all good. I'm a realist.
It's just crazy. But you know what? There have been some rumors being kind of tossed out there from some NFL insiders that the Packers are actively calling around looking for a trade partner for a wide receiver. Is there anybody that either you've heard or anybody that comes to mind that you feel like would be a good target for the Packers to be looking at? That's realistic, obviously. Yeah,
they talking about Brandon Cooks, who I know everybody's looking at. They're talking about Moore in Carolina, DJ Moore. That's the receiver that they want. They're not. That's what Carolina said. That's what they're saying. That, to me, is them trying to drive the price up for him. So they tell you, well, you know what? We're not letting him go. We look at him as a cornerstone of our offense. Well, you just traded the best player on your team, who you have 3 years left on his contract. This year is only $1 million on his contract, and then $12 million for the other 2 years. He don't have a lot of money on that contract left. They paid him most of all of the money already. So you giving up one of the best running backs in the NFL, like you don't think he a cornerstone of your team? Like, that don't sound right. And I think they're doing the same thing with DJ Moore. They're just trying to drive up the price. And I don't think, quite honestly, the Packers are not going to pay a large price in draft picks. They value their draft picks too much. Every year you hear about the Packers in on conversations about trades. You very rarely hear the Packers made a trade. True. Because they just don't. They don't do it.
Which is, I guess, again, which is why I was shocked that the trade for Adams went through. Because in my mind, if there were anybody on your team that was getting traded, it wouldn't have been Adams and it wouldn't have been Rodgers. Like, you know what I mean? Like, okay, we could trade whoever else on this offense. We could trade whoever you want on D, but these two dudes are untouchable. And so when it happened, it was just like, and it wasn't even for the King's ransom, I would have assumed. You know what I mean? Like for Devontae Adams.
It was so depressing for me. That was a depressing day for me. And then I hear all of the news come out where they saying that, well, he wanted to go play with Derek Carr. I was like, that didn't make no sense. But then I heard Aaron Rodgers on the McAfee show say that he couldn't guarantee him a certain amount of time that he would play. And Devontae wanted to know that he was going to be there. And if not, then he wanted to go play with his friends. So he felt like because the Packers stalled him out like they did, they tried to play Debo and stall him out. He figured he was going to go ahead and get what he wanted. And, since Aaron couldn't guarantee he would be there,
I think we lost my man Jesse.
and good luck with that. And congratulations on your losing season. And now we suck just as bad. So.
Yeah. We lost you there for a hot second, but I got your point. We got the whole point. Let's get in so now let's get into the X's and O's of this weekend. Because I know I just gave you a whole speech about how I just feel like it ain't happening. But let's talk about let's talk about what you feel like the game plan has to be for the Packers to come into Orchard Park and win this game Sunday night.
Okay, so first, they're going to have 69 back on the offensive line. If Bakhtiari can't play, it's going to be a problem because they're going to need the guy that played in his place last week was a rookie. He's not going to be able to do nothing with Von Miller. So if he's out there with Von Miller, I don't care if they put the tight end over there with him. They're not going to be able to stop Von Miller from destroying our offense. So Bakhtiari has to be back. They have to run the ball, and they have to be successful at it. The Packers ran the ball 12 times last week. 12 times out of 47 plays. That is horrible. So they got to run the ball. Aaron Jones should have 15 carries alone. He had 8 carries and 9 receptions. So everybody was saying, well, they got him the ball. That's good enough. No, it's not. He needs to run the ball. He needs to have a minimum of 15 carries. 15 to 20 carries is what an NFL running back should be able to do. You should never have less than 10 carries in a game unless you're being blown out and you trying to come back. I don't understand that. And every week, they come in the press conference after the game and go, we got to get Aaron the ball more. Well, duh, it's your job. You the coach. Call the plays. And if Aaron Rodgers is audible and out of them, you tell him to stop it. You need to run the ball. They got to run it, and then they got to be able to they got to have some semblance of a play action pass. And if they can't do that, their offense isn't going to be able to stay on the field still, and our defense is going to get wore down, and we're going to get trounced.
Aaron Jones made some big plays for y'all this past week. He had the touchdown reception. It was a great catch. He looked like a wide receiver.
Yeah.
So he's making some plays. But when you have a guy with that type of talent, you get him involved more, man. Absolutely. You sound like Bills fans about Devin Singletary. Obviously, we have a high-powered offense with Josh, but we need that run game to be going to take some of the pressure off of Josh. This dude be throwing for 400 yards and then rushing for 80. He's leading the team in rushing and pat, and it's that's right. A lot, so I get it. Defensively on the other side of the ball, what do you think the Packers have to do to contain or to slow down this offense?
Unfortunately, it would be playing right into the Bills' hands because they're going to have to play man-to-man, and they're going to have to try and play some bump and run coverage. And when you got the weapons that you guys have, being able to get out there, you're going to have 2 big issues. You're going to have either them beating you over the top, or you're going to have Josh Allen running for days because you're in man-to-man coverage. And if the D-line don't maintain their rush lanes, which they won't, our D-line never maintains rush lanes, Josh Allen's going to be running all over the field. So we're going to have a horrible time stopping that offense. And our offense, the only way to do it is to keep them off the field.
Well, to do that means you got to get Aaron Jones involved. It can't be 10.
That's why I said we have to run the ball.
Yeah. Yeah, you want to play that time of possession game because, if Josh is on the field, they moving the ball and they're gonna try to score. Shout out to my homegirl Tia Estelle from Natural Average Podcast in the 716. She has a question for you. She wants to know if it's true, and I've heard this before too, which is weird, but because I feel like when you have a quarterback like Aaron Rodgers or back in the day the Peyton Mannings, I feel like they should just be the on-field offensive coordinator in a way. So you're supposed to give them the playbook, but I do feel like there's a little bit of difference of what Aaron Rodgers wants and then what your coach wants to do. So is there a disconnect when it comes to the play calling too? Because I hear he takes some shots. He's been taking some shots, like some of those subtle little disses here and there. What do you see as far as the play calling and all of that stuff? Is it something that Aaron Rodgers is having difficulty letting go of, or is it something that the coaching staff needs to trust Aaron Rodgers a little bit more because he deserves that?
There is two playbooks. She is absolutely correct. There's two different playbooks. There's the one that the coach actually wants to run, and then there's the one that Aaron Rodgers that they had to build for Aaron Rodgers the way that he likes to play to try and mix in what the coach likes to do. And one of those things is those shotguns. Aaron loves to be in the shotgun. He hates turning his back to the defense because defenses change. They try and show us one thing and then change because of Aaron Rodgers and what he can do to your defense. So he don't want to turn his back to the defense, knowing what he just saw, and then turn his back to play action, turn back, and the defense is in something different. It throws him off. So he don't like to go play action that way. He'll be in the shotgun. He want to fake the handoff in the shotgun as as play action, and that's not the same. So
Shout out to Mick Nizzle. He says, this guy is awesome, talking about my brother Jesse here. Great analysis about the Packers. Appreciate you coming on this week, man. Like I had a couple people that I reached out to initially, but I'm like, no, let me get my family on here. And this is why, because I missed the way we used to talk, man. This was every day at work. We used to talk about the attorney.
We used to do this all the time.
We probably should have did more work. But the point is, we had we had some fun times. So shout out to Mick Nizzle. But go ahead and finish your point. I'm sorry for cutting you off there.
Yeah, I completely lost where I was now. So the playbook and everything it's all good. The playbook with everything with them is that if you look at San Francisco and the Rams, that's the way that LaFleur wants to play in our offense. And if we can just get Aaron Rodgers to play under center, we can run our offense that way. I can guarantee you our offense would be significantly better this year if he would just go under center and take more snaps. And that is crazy that it's something that simple. But it forces the defense, when you go into that play action, the defense has to respect it. From watching the quarterback drop back, stick that ball out, and stick it into the running back's stomach. Those linebackers are going to react to that. When you're standing back there in shotgun and you reach that ball out, linebackers don't have to commit to that. And they don't. You'll see some of our play action plays, the linebackers will drop during the play action part of it. So they definitely do have two different playbooks, and they need to do more of LaFleur's offense just to get to. If we had the weapons that he wanted, he could play the way he wanted to all day because he could get out there and throw the ball around. We don't have those weapons no more.
It's just so weird to watch, man. Because one of the things that I know you're gonna remember this when I say it. One of the things I used to say to you was like, man, F y'all, man. Y'all went from Brett Favre to Aaron Rodgers. Man, like, it ain't fair. And so like to just watch and because then the conversation would go to, it don't even like it matters who your receivers are, but it didn't even matter because it was like Aaron Rodgers was that good that he was elevating everybody's play around him. And this is the first year, and I don't even assume. I'm not saying that he's old. Like I don't think that he's hit a cliff. I still think that he's Aaron Rodgers. You know what I mean? So I don't think that we're at that point. But it's just wild to me to see the offense look like this, or to see Aaron Rodgers look like this. It's absolutely nuts, man. But let's flip it now. So on the Bills side of things, well, no, I'm gonna ask you because I already gave my whole speech about how I just feel like, we that team this year. But from a Bills perspective, we don't want to overlook the Packers. You know, anytime you got 12
Right.
on that other side, you don't want to overlook them boys. So from a Bills perspective, aside from being focused and waking up for this game as if it was last week's or 2 weeks ago against the Chiefs, what do you see the Bills need to do offensively? We'll talk about the defense in a second, but offensively, what do you think the Buffalo Bills need to do to really come out and you know, look like the team they have been all year?
Well, one thing will be they're going to need to take advantage of our safeties. We will have uh, we have one safety that can play pretty good back there, and then the other one is not so good. So we're looking at our safeties will probably be looking to come down and help cover the middle of the field. Our defense has an issue with crossing patterns. So we'll be getting into a lot of one high. Your guys are going to be able to take advantage of one-on-one coverage on the outside. We want to play that way, though. So just know our secondary wants to play one-on-one coverage.
Yeah,
But if they get out there, I guarantee you they want to play one-on-one coverage. That's
Against
the best way.
man.
Listen, if we play zone, we are going to be destroyed with crossing patterns.
I
If you look
understand
at go back and look at that Minnesota Vikings game, that wasn't an aberration. Our guys cannot hand off receivers in the middle of their zone patterns. They want to play man to man. And even if we get in toe up man to man, it's better than what we're going to see in with zone. In zone, you're going to see people 5 to 10 yards open. And that's disgusting.
I hear you, but I'm just so again, this is being written. So I don't. How many Bills games have you seen this year?
Probably 3.
So in those 3 games, I'm sure one was the Chiefs game. I'm sure one was probably the season opener against the Rams.
The Rams,
and then probably what the Titans game maybe. That was a Monday night game, I think. Yeah, Titans was a Monday.
That was a Monday night game. Yeah.
So probably those 3. So when you look at those 3 games, you sure y'all? I'm not even like seriously. Y'all want to play man to man or man to man against Stephon Diggs and Gabriel Davis and like, dude, what they doing on offense, man to man is. I mean, really, I don't know because now I'm about to come.
Jair's gonna want to man up on Diggs. Jair's been saying that about every receiver, and he did it last week. And Lauren tore that boy up. He had his way with him, but Jair Alexander is still one of the better cover corners in the league. He gonna want to get out there on Diggs. We got a speedster and 21 out there who can cover the speed guy. You're gonna have him out there probably, and then you're gonna have 29 out there. He's gonna be playing in the slot. So him and Jair will rotate in the slot depending on where Diggs go. Diggs will probably play a lot out of the slot to try and get free releases and get out there on them. So they're gonna try and play man to man against them. I guarantee you that if they play zone, that it's gonna be way worse. And then our run defense, it's okay, but it's not nothing to write home about. We can't secure the edges, so you guys are gonna tear us up on the edge if y'all focus on the run.
Okay. I mean, so when I hear you say that as a Bills fan, it's music to my ears because I've seen this year what happens when people try to go one-on-one with Diggs or with like obviously the Chiefs game. You saw right before the half, Josh threw like I don't even remember what it was, like a 30-yard bomb to Gabriel Davis. And then in the second half, he did the same thing to Diggs on the boundary one-on-one. So, as a Bills fan, that makes us excited because I don't think that there's any team in the league with a secondary that's complete enough to cover these guys man to man. And that's not being cocky. That's being realistic about who the team is.
Stokes can run with Gabriel Davis out there all day. His problem is playing that ball in the air. So Gabriel Davis can probably take advantage of him if the pass, or it's Josh Allen. So if the pass is good enough, he can probably take advantage of him. But Stokes will be right there with him. Stokes, he's a 4.2. That boy is fast. He gets out there. We've got good corners. We got three our secondary is still one of the better secondaries in the league, but they want to play man to man because they're not good in zone. They're not good in zone, and they know it. They actually went to the defensive coordinator and told him, "We need to play man to man out here. This zone stuff is not working for us."
Okay, well, we'll see what
The
happens.
players shouldn't have to tell your coaches that, but they had to go to him and tell him that.
Touche. You know how that goes, but sometimes the coaching staff don't. They got to listen to players more too. I think that's what makes a good coach. And speaking of coaching, and then this will be the last question, and we'll get on out of here. My man John wants to know what your perspective on our offensive caller as a play the Bills. Do you think the Bills have a better offense this year as opposed to last year with Brian Daboll? Now we have Ken Dorsey.
Well, the offense this year looks way more explosive to me. I'm seeing. You want to talk about the differences? You're at that point where the Packers used to be, where you're upset that they're not running the ball. They don't need to. Mm-hmm. They don't need to run the ball because their passing game is so good that the run game is obsolete. That's honestly, that helps us because we eventually will get ran over. The run game, we gave up 169, I want to say, yards last week on the ground. And we won't have to worry about that in Buffalo because Josh Allen's going to throw the ball. What they're going to have to worry about is keeping up with them receivers because they're going to be on the field. I really don't believe our offense is going to be able to sustain drives, which means our defense is going to stay on the field. And, like you said, y'all going to put some points up. Against Buffalo, I don't care how good your defense is. You're going to put up points. What you got to be able to do is match them, and we can't match you.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, y'all just got a chance to experience the conversation with me and my brother. This has been fun. It's been like ages since we've done this. I'm gonna get ready to get on out of here. Like I said, we got a big show coming up right after this, so please stay involved. Go and check out John Fina, the Off Tackle with John Fina, my man Joe Miller. They're gonna have Joel Allen joining tonight. This is gonna be a big show. It's gonna be a big show. So get in there, get your super chats ready, all that stuff, and talk to my man Joel Allen. Jesse, you already know, man. It's a pleasure. I appreciate you, man. Anytime you want to come back on the show, you got an open invitation. You don't have a show or anything, so I can't plug anything for you. But ladies and gentlemen, y'all love on my brother. He don't do Twitter and all that stuff, so I can't even tell y'all to go follow him. But just love on my brother. And y'all know how I do it over here with Buffalo Rumblings, man. Y'all love each other, take care of each other, and live in peace. And as always, stay positive, test negative, go Bills. Code of conduct.